All right. So, thank you for joining. Um, my guest this evening is Jonathan Lee, Dr. Jonathan Lee, I might add. And I've invited him on just to talk a little bit about what he does. I met Jonathan at a networking event, a U2B networking event some time ago. And we started talking about what I did and about what Jonathan does. And I'll let him explain to you what his passion is, how it started, etc. So over to you, Jonathan.
Hello, Carol. Thanks for inviting me this evening. To anyone who's watching and who don't know who I am, my name's Dr. Jonathan Lee. I'm originally from London, and actually I'm a dentist, to be honest. I wanted to be a dentist since I was around 14. I've been really fascinated with the human body pretty much all my life. Um, but I always had an issue with weight. Not always when I was younger, but when I hit my late teens, early 20s, my stomach was just getting bigger every year. And I was one of those guys. I went to the gym, but nothing I did really seemed to work long term. So I would kind of go through plateaus, lose a bit of weight, hit a plateau, gain the weight. I used to buy those muscle magazines, Muscle Fitness, all those magazines. And after a while, because I used to keep, after around, I'd say around 4 or 5 years, I was getting quite frustrated because nothing I was doing was really working in regards to this weight loss. And a side note, if you go to my leangains.co.uk website, I actually talk about this in detail in some of the videos there. But long story short, I was getting very frustrated, and it was a time in my life when I was still studying. So I basically went to university. Before I did my dentistry, can you see me okay? The light is playing up a little bit. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so before I did my dentistry, I went to university for a few years. I studied sports nutrition. And I thought I'd get a really good understanding about, what's going on really with my body. I think that was the principal thing. I wanted a real education, the science behind fat loss and muscle gain, and hopefully I'd be able to apply that to my weight loss journey. And I learned a lot. It was a great university degree, but this was back in '98,
Okay.
and what we know now kind of it doesn't really compare to what we knew back then. There's so much that we found out about the human body, but that's really where my love affair with nutrition started. It was around '98. So after university, I was pretty much hooked. I was following people like Lyle McDonald, Alan Aragon. I don't know if you're aware of these people, but they're quite well respected in the sports nutrition arena.
Okay.
And I basically read literally thousands of books and articles, and I was trying to really find out what is going on here because I was hitting the gym and yet I wasn't losing weight. I'd lose a bit of weight, but I wasn't getting my six pack. I wasn't getting an athletic. And I hate it. One thing I hate is when people say, "Oh, it's just common sense." It's not really common sense. I think losing a little bit of weight, dropping a few dress sizes, maybe, or maybe losing the belly for men, that's a little common sense. But if you want to get to the athletic 8% body fat, that's not necessarily common sense. And I wanted to really delve into that in real details, which I did. And after a good 3.5, 4 years of research, I put the pieces together. And again, on my website, leangains.co.uk, you can see my journey. But long story short, I was able to get the six pack eventually. And it wasn't an easy journey. And it certainly wasn't a common sense kind of thing. What they say, go and jog on the treadmill. But all that didn't work for me. But I found out what works for me, and I decided to share my story with other people because there were people who I knew who saw the difference and think, well, what did you do, Joe? And so I wrote a book about it called Lean Gains. That was back in 2015. And I got it released. It was published in 2016. And then around a year later, almost a year later, I read the book again and I hated it. I absolutely hated the book. So I decided to do a second edition, which I actually have here. I'm going to show it to you.
Yes, please.
Lean Gains, second edition. I don't know if you can see that, right?
That's it. That's it.
And which I'm actually really proud of. There was no outside interference. I won't go into the politics now, but long story short is I did this book myself. The second edition I did myself.
Mm-hmm.
And in a nutshell, it contains everything you need to know about losing fat, gaining muscle, living healthy, and getting the six pack if that's what you want. If you really want that athletic build, it's all described there. On a side note, my father passed away 10 years ago, actually this year, and the other thing that I wanted to do was really, because he never smoked, never drank, but he died of cancer.
Right.
It's heartbreaking because it's horrible when you see someone just die like that, because it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was over 6 months, and it kind of inspired me into looking into why people get cancer, other than the classic symptoms of someone who smokes all the time. You kind of think, okay, they were smoking, or someone who drinks all the time. You think, okay, they're drinking. My dad was a very active man, and he was a carpenter, so he was always very active, and he never smoked, drank, or anything like that. So I was always surprised, how did he get stomach cancer? And then I started to look into the dietary causes of stomach cancer. It kind of, when you look into one thing, you start looking into other things. And so I wrote this other book. It's a really big book. There you go. I'm just showing it all. I don't know if you can see the whole thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That second book I showed you was actually dedicated to my father, because it talks about the same things that Lean Gains talks about, but it also talks about health, how to live longer, basically, and things to look out for. Because a lot of people ignore the dietary aspects. You came to my talk a few weeks ago where I talked about vegetables and vegan diet. Not saying not saying you have to become vegan, but the importance of introducing plant-based foods to your diet, and how a lot of these foods have anti-carcinogenic qualities. So I talk about that a lot in my second book, simply because I want to bring awareness, because I don't want other people to suffer what my dad suffered. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit about me. You can find out more, as I say, on my website, leangains.co.uk. And I've done all the talking, Carol. So
before moving on to me, what are some of the events you've got coming up?
Yeah, so I've got a talk. I do talks every so often. I've got one coming up on this Saturday, actually, Saturday the 12th, in Walsall, which is just north of Birmingham, and it's Cafe Bellray, which is just off Bloxwich. What you can do is, actually, if you go to my website, leangains.co.uk, if you go to the bottom of the website, there's a bit that says upcoming events. If you click on that button, it will show you all the upcoming events that are coming up. Then there's another one so that one is at, what time is it? I think it's 3 o'clock, that one. It's a talk about how to lose fat and gain muscle. Okay. January, perfect time, January, after Christmas. So pretty much before losing fat and gain muscle. And then there's another one on the 19th of January in the Quantum, which I think was the first one you came to, wasn't it?
That was
Big Birth in Britain. Sorry.
Was that the event I attended, the vegan event?
No, the first one. Oh goodness, when was it? August, I think, or something like that?
Yes.
It was around a few months ago.
I attended. Hi, Joanna.
Gemma, hello?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, is that... I didn't hear what you said, sorry.
No, I was saying hello to Joanna, who's just...
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so my second event's on Saturday, the 19th of January, and that's in the Quantum Centre in Digbeth, 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
And what will that focus on?
Same thing. Ironically, I was privileged to say that and a lot of people really liked the first one, so they asked me to do it again. So essentially, it's all about fat loss, muscle gain, and very interactive. Be a lot of fun. Come along. It's free, so why not?
We all love free.
Yeah, free. Why not?
Oh, excellent.